Our keynote speaker this evening is Mr. John Ling. John Ling has recently joined the state of Georgia as the Managing Director for Investment. The saying, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, in our case, in the state of Georgia, he used to work for a competitor state just next door, and has an incredible resume of success in bringing Chinese investment to the U.S. So Georgia couldn't quite compete with him, so they hired him. So we're glad that he has joined our team, and we're glad that he's here with us this evening to talk a little bit about trends around investment in the U.S. And his experiences as well. So in keeping this very casual, I'll please welcome John Ling up here with the mic, and feel free to take your tie off too. You already made your impression, you got the pictures. We won't tell your boss, right?
Thank you, Rick. Well, I've spent 16 years working for the neighboring state of Georgia before I can prove myself, and eventually I was offered the opportunity to come and work for the state of Georgia. And so I just got back from China after a 6-week trip, and I got back 30-some hours ago, so I was fighting between the hurricane, the heavy rain, and jet lag, and I made it here. And I'm quite awake now after I see you guys. And so what I plan to do is just to give you a little bit introduction about myself and what I had done in the past by bringing Chinese projects into, again, the neighboring state. And what I have seen differently between the earlier days of inbound Chinese investment, as well as what's on the horizon. And so hopefully, by the time I finish, you all have some questions that I can help to answer a few. And I know we have some great experts here who can also do that. But anyway. I came to the U.S. in '91, and from '94 to '99, I had a small trading company. I was selling pre-engineered metal building to China. There are some similarities between that job and this one, which is one, they are all capital projects, so you have to talk to the owner or chairman of the company before you can sell the project. And second, it's somewhat unproven. Metal building in China in the 90s was not a very popular concept, and most people still are much more used to the conventional concrete building. And similar to what I'm trying to do now, which is to sell the idea of having a Chinese company locating a production facility in the U.S., which many people thought it's out of, it's crazy. And so I did that for 5 years, and one of my clients happened to be the home appliances maker Haier. So I worked with them in '99, and eventually they built the first Chinese greenfield facility in Camden, South Carolina. I joined South Carolina Department of Commerce in January 2000. Went to Shanghai in '05. We opened the office there. Most of the activities happened in the last 3-4 years. So the first, between '05 to '09, it's just trying to plant the seeds, get the words out. And what we are seeing right now is that everything is driven by the cost. Unless we can convince a Chinese project that it might make more sense by locating a facility in the U.S. and it actually can make their products more competitive. And I'll give you a few examples of that. And I actually work on projects in a very diverse sector of business, including home appliances, chemicals, rubber and tires, machineries, bioscience, and packaging or printing. And more Chinese companies are finding it attractive to do that. Some of you may have heard about the Texas project, which is a $280 million project. And it's just unbelievable. Many people find it hard to believe that how a Chinese Texas project could locate in the U.S. And again, you have to explain the cost advantage, which is the utilities, the land, the logistic costs, the raw material costs. And some of the projects are starting to to produce this in the U.S. and ship it back to China. And we see more and more evidence of Chinese companies doing that in the U.S. This past trip, while I was there, I talked to 3 companies in one industry, and each of them is planning a $400 to $600 million project. And again, it's driven by the cost, and it's hard to name the industry for right now. But again, they have made the visit to the U.S. and visiting different states, and the Southeast has been proved very attractive, and Georgia in particular. That's because, again, we have the very nice port system here, the transportation, the city of Atlanta. Actually, the university play a very important role into this. And one thing that, comparing to the state that I used to represent, and I think one thing that can set this state apart is also the business community, as well as the Asian Chinese community. And that's something that I didn't have the luxury to have while I represent the other state. And that's why I'm very excited that I can have this platform representing Georgia and as well as the city of Atlanta, and getting to know many of you. I know I have got to know some of you over the years, Jean there, and that's Nanny and East. And again, I'm very excited about the opportunity, and I have already entertained a lot of media requests in the past few years, not because we or I have done something great, but rather many people heard about the Western investment in China, but very few people ever heard about Chinese investment into the U.S., especially in the manufacturing sector. And I hope that one day I'll also be able to have the opportunity to share with some of our professors here. And actually, I do believe they can be a great case study to discuss and to learn more about. Because, again, for any Chinese companies that are even remotely thinking about to invest in the U.S., they tend to be among the best in the industry, no matter it's by Chinese standard or by global standard. They tend to be the top 3 in the field globally, and each has its uniqueness and its own story, especially in terms of for a Chinese company trying to build a facility fresh from the ground. So anyway, look forward to chatting with you more, and if you happen to have any questions, I will be happy to answer. Yes.
So I think you already mentioned about how you did a lot with the manufacturing investment. did awesome job for sure with South Carolina. You already said that logistic university has been here in Canada. It's going to set us apart. Can you hear me? Okay. I was trying my best. So I think you mentioned that your strategy is really like Georgia because of logistics, because of community, because of talent really set apart us from the other southeast states. And you already mentioned that manufacturing is like really interesting to invest back in the states because of cost. However, and in the past 3 years, as information technology industry, they helping invest a lot like Alibaba, Tencent. Baidu all invest like millions of dollars, especially on the West Coast. Do you have any strategy trying to bring more like this type of business here?
Thank you. That's a great question. Actually, I'm the type of person that I don't want to oversell anything to anybody. And actually, in every project I find myself, I'm the one who's trying to hold the project back because, again, for a Chinese company to invest in the U.S. on a production facility, I want them to be extremely cautious at the beginning, and to make sure they do their due diligence, to make sure they cover their ground. And also, when I represent South Carolina, and I had run into a project that they said they want to invest in the U.S., and I would not mind telling them that I appreciate your interest, but I don't think South Carolina has the right ingredients or the industrial base to accommodate your project. And obviously, as you can appreciate, sometimes it's hard to convince a Chinese company to do an e-commerce. E-commerce has to be in a bigger metro city, and also it's just like the real estate. One, as a state government agency, we didn't really get ourselves involved with that. But second, for a large real estate project, Chinese tend to want to invest in a city where there's a big population, and also for some brand name, they also want to be in a city where there are a bigger Chinese community. So answering your question, I didn't have that when I represent the other state, but as I start with Georgia, I think I will, when that opportunity comes. And also, this is a type of project I think I would try to pursue as well. Yes, Henry?
Can you hear me? We have limited resources, so it might be too early for you to are you focused on a few provinces and you cannot run it, right? Yeah, that's the question.
Well, when I started doing this in the earlier years, I thought I can kind of name a few industries that I need to focus on. But what I found in recent years is that I was wrong in that regard because, again, they came from all kinds of industries. And so I'm not going to be the one who's going to sort of decide which kind of industry I work with or target for. As long as once a project came to us or came to me, and I can work with the project to evaluate and also to see if it makes sense to do that in Georgia. Second, I used to think there are several provinces in China that may have more projects, coming from. For example, Canton, Jiangsu, Zhejiang. But really, I have zero project right now from. Well, I had a $7 million project from Canton, and I just had a $24 million project from Jiangsu province, Well, they announced it last week in Greenville, South Carolina, after I left. So I want to claim that credit, but I'd rather not to. But Zhejiang, I have almost $800 million from Zhejiang in the last 2-3 years. So again, I know China is a big place, but I think I can, as long as it's a real project, a serious project, I'm not going to limit myself by where they are and which industry they are, and I'm ready to work with them and to pursue this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. We appreciate your insights this evening. And everyone, please enjoy dinner, mix, mingle, and we've got the bar in the back, but please enjoy it.